Hi lively one, welcome back to our channel Be Lively ASMR. If you're new here, I'm usually doing ASMR videos, but for today I thought I'm going to do something different by giving you a haircut tutorial. I first wanted to clarify I'm not a professional haircut dresser, but I feel qualified enough to give some tips and tell you some do's and don'ts since I'm cutting my hair every 4 to 6 weeks for 3 years now. So I gained some knowledge on what works best and I want to share some of this. So let's get right into it. I'm very sure this video will help you no matter what kind of hair length you have or what kind of texture or how thin or thick your hair is, because I will mostly tell you the basics. And I do have very straight hair, so I have to look out for cutting my hair very straight, so I'm definitely having some tips on how to do that. First of all, you need very sharp scissors so the hair doesn't get ripped off while cutting. It has to be a very smooth cut so your hair doesn't get damaged at the ends. I would recommend purchasing a real haircut scissor over time when you continue cutting your own hair. For just trying it out, I would say it's okay to use any sharp scissors. Sharp. Mine was now 40 euros, but it was mostly because I had to look for a left-handed one. I'm left-handed and there are a ton of right-handed ones. Left-handed, at the time I was purchasing this one, there were not so many, and this one is called Jaguar Pre-Style Relax Left 5.75. I had no idea which one is good, but it is actually very good. I'm happy with it. It doesn't damage my my ends at all. We'll come to the hair cutting part in a second, but since those are some very important basics, I want to make sure you know them before cutting your hair. So the difference between a haircut scissor and a normal scissor is that this one has very thin like teeth that hold the hair, that when you cut, the hair stays exactly where you cut it, and with a normal scissor it will like drift. Those teeth hold the hair in place. Be aware that how you hold your scissors is the way you cut your hair. I would recommend always cutting straight. Now there are some methods where you cut like that. Now be aware that you have to hold it pretty straight, otherwise you will cut triangles in your hair. But for straight hair I would always recommend cutting your hair like that. Now if you have very thick hair and you want like your hair to be thinned out a little at the end, I will explain at the end on how to do that. Next, you need a thin tooth hair comb, that when you brush your hair is not floating around. Like when you come to the ends, it stays like that. That's important. So you cut most likely straight, and just a normal brush. So you should always start by just brushing your hair, get out all the knots. So I always wear my hair in the middle part, but also if you have a side part, I would recommend cutting your hair in the middle part, except you are 100% sure that you always have your side part at the same exact spot. If you don't, and you flip it over on another level on top of your head, you will have very long hair on one side and not on the other. It's just totally uneven. You can avoid that if you have just a middle part and cut it like that. Also, it's best to cut your hair when it's wet. So I usually cut my hair when I just came out of the shower. You can also wetten your hair with a spray bottle. This mostly dries my hair out, so I will just do it after I took a shower. For the first time, do what suits you. I think that's always the best. Please bear with me that I'm cutting my hair dry today, which I normally don't. But as I've said, if you feel comfortable cutting it dry the first time, I did that too. Do what suits you. You got this. You should feel comfortable doing this. And please don't cut your hair before a very important event, especially if you're doing it the first time. And most likely just cut it before you have a hairdresser appointment. If you feel like cutting your own hair prior to a hairdresser appointment gives you more confidence, then of course do that, because they can even out uneven hair cutting results, obviously. I will explain you 3 different ways on how to cut your own hair. I will also tell you at the end on how to do like layers in the front, but we will start just with the base length, which is the longest length of your hair. I would recommend also parting your hair in the middle at the back, so you cut the sides left and right even. I also would recommend just cutting one side at a time. The side that you don't need, you can clip it up or just put it in a ponytail or whatever suits you. I mostly just keep it in the front, and when I cut this side, all the hair that I've done will end up in the front, and the hair that I haven't done will end up in the back, and then I will just pull it in the front, the front, and the front until everything is in the front. So, since I have some layers in the front with shorter hair, I always start with the base length, which starts in the middle. So we will ignore the layers in the front first. I have a mirror over here, by the way, so I'm looking at that. It's a very tiny one, but I think it will work. So when you brush down, you want to make sure that you start brushing here and brush down. So when you have your hair like that, it's in line with how it is here. If you just start below and just brush it here, it can like be tangled somewhere here above, and you will have different lengths at the end, and you don't want that, obviously. When you brush down, you want to make sure to brush the direction of your hair. So here I would brush just down in the front, here I would brush a little more to the side, and here a little more to the back, if that makes sense. I usually start with the middle part of my hair. Since this hair is shorter, I always start in the middle, and I flip this hair back. So the first method that you can use is by brushing this down, getting to the end, and holding your hair up to where you want to cut it. If you just want to give yourself a very short trim, you should do it like that, and make sure your fingers are straight with the line you want to cut it, and use it as a tool on how to cut straight. If you're not good at that, I also saw online that here are such tools. You can open it. It looks like this on the inside, and it holds the hair, so you can like grab it like that, then clip it, and then hold it like that. So it works very well. I just didn't want to clip it for right now because I don't use it, but it is a helping tool. You don't need that, but if you feel comfortable, more comfortable with that, do that. Okay, so we will start. It's kind of struggle because I'm not at my big mirror today. So we have it like that, and then I'm just cutting. I'm just trimming my hair for today. I'm doing like that. Since I show you different cutting styles, I might trim a little more in a second, so we don't want to cut too much. So we just cut like this much with this hair. Then I grab some of the back, take some of the hair that I already cut, that's beside, and do that again. And now you will notice that the hair has different lengths. So here, I don't know if you can see that, it's short because I already cut it, and here it's longer. And now I will use this as an orientation on how to cut. So it has the same length. And I will do that over again with another part. So I will grab another part will take some hair that I already cut. Again, brushing down from as high as I can down. And again, cutting it. And now we will do that with the rest too. And now I will try to brush it more to the back. All right. Next, what helps to assure that your hair is straight? Okay, I try to explain it as carefully as I can. I just now brushed it to the side like that and created like a flat line going this way. Now I grab it and try to do a flat line just down like this way. We just brush it this way, now we brush it this way. I will brush it down. And I feel like this really helps to cut your hair even more straight. So now here are just like 5 hairs that I missed. And this helps me to see if I missed any. Now on to the second hair cutting method. You wanna brush with this comb your hair as straight as you can so it's everywhere in line. And then at the end you wanna put a little ponytail. If you have a little rubber, that's perfect. I will demonstrate it like this. You can also just hold it with your hand, but you have to make sure that the hair you have in your hand you keep tied to the side in the middle of your hair. So not like that or like that to the side. And then this is also a very fast way to cut your hair if you just want to give yourself a little trim. I think it's also best if you just have wavy hair and it's not that important how straight your hair is. And then you hold it up like that, or there's some loose hair. And then we will just cut like that. Now, this might not be the best way to cut your hair pretty straight. I would recommend the first method that we used on this hair side. I find this tool helpful for the back. I just clip it in, pull it down, hold it to the side like that. I don't know if there are any other methods. If you have shorter hair, probably just the hair tie as well. Like putting everything in the back in a hair tie and pulling it down and then just cutting like that. Haven't tried it out since I didn't cut my hair when it was shorter. I just started when it was longer. Now we will come to the part on how to do layers in the front, or how to thin out the ends of your hair if you have very thick hair. First of all, how to do front layers. I would recommend like deciding where you want to have it and separate your hair that way and make sure it's even on both sides. I don't have a good mirror right now, so I'm just demonstrating on how to do it. Pretend that this is even. And cut. This part then shorter than the rest. Now this time we will cut the hair a little bit different. Previously we just brushed down and cut it straight. Now you want to cut it in a little angle so the hair falls nicely inwards a little. And we will do that by just pushing your fingers down and then let me hold my hair a little bit higher so you can see that. Pushing your fingers down and then doing that angle. On this side you want to do that angle, on this side you want to do this angle. Makes sense? And you can do with as many layers as you want. I have, I think 2 by now. I had 3 in between, but I'm fine with 2. And you want to do with this as well. Now some hairdressers, and I always hated this, just grab all of the hair and cut it above. But this doesn't work for my face. My hair falls on the left and on the right differently. So I always cut each side individually when it's falling down to make sure it has the same length. It might work for your hair, for mine it doesn't. Now if you just wanna thin out the ends because you have very thick hair, there are two different ways. My hairdresser always said like it looks best. I'm not fully agreeing with her, just telling you there are two different ways to cut the hair that's below a tiny bit shorter than the rest. Now, although we never agreed, I think it looks better if you cut the top part a little shorter. Now on how to do that, and I would also recommend doing that if you have a side part and you just cut your hair in a middle part. Let me just brush the knot out. You grab the hair that you want to cut and you don't brush it down like that, like we've done before. In this angle, you take the brush and brush it to the side. And then you cut that way. So when you also obviously hold that scissor, then you can also cut like that, but just in line with the fingers again. And when you leave it down, the hair on top will be cut a little shorter. Makes sense? And then it falls nicely. And I would recommend doing that, as I've said, if you have a side part, because then it falls nicely no matter on what side you have, because you have different hair length that are slightly different but still perfect in line. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I try to answer then all of them. I obviously, again, I'm not a hairdresser and I tried to explain this the first time to you. I really hope I did give a good explanation. I really tried my best. If you like this video, just give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to. And I hope to see you very soon again. Bye!